with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, moni miliwanji, namaste, jambo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jed Lee, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so delighted and so very honored that you'll join us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Good Pods, wherever you find your podcasts. Today, Ann O'Leary is joining us to interview Christine Evans about her beautiful children's book, Worry Cloud. Before we invite our guests into the studio, we want to invite you to connect with us on social media. Facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Reading With Your Kids on Instagram and TikTok, and at Jedley Magic on Twitter. We would also love for you to visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. We have a fantastic online magazine. It is called Reading with Your Kids. You're going to find some fantastic writing in the magazine, great author profiles, cooking with your kids, recipes, STEM activities you can do with your kids, find out what games you can play with your kids. So much there on the Reading with Your Kids online magazine, and it is free, and it is available at our website, readingwithyourkids.com. We also want to take this time to encourage you to visit a site that is very near and dear to my heart. It's clownswithoutborders.org. Clownswithoutborders.org. I want you to go there and see the tremendous work that this group is doing around the world. I recently had the honor and the true pleasure of being part of the Clowns Without Borders tour of El Salvador. Clowns Without Borders is committed to bringing smiles, joy, laughs, and a spirit of play to kids and families all over the world, especially kids and families who are refugees or survivors of a disaster or recovering from violence. The kids and the families that I met in El Salvador those smiles will stay with me forever. And I was so happy that so many of my friends here from the podcast and from my life helped support that tour. And I would love for you to consider supporting Clowns Without Borders. They have a great program where you can help bring a smile to kids every single month. It starts as low as $11. Imagine that, $11 a month. And you can help bring a smile to a kid that has been displaced by violence, or a kid who is had to leave their homeland, a kid who is no longer able to return to their home because of a volcano or an earthquake or a hurricane. You can make a huge difference in those kids' lives, and it can start by visiting clownswithoutborders.org.
Coming to you from the city of Boston, Massachusetts, I'm Ann O'Leary, filling in for Jed, and today I'm here with our guest, Christine Evans, author of Worry Cloud. Christine, how are you doing this morning?
Hi, Ann. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm doing great. I do currently have 2 girls homesick today, so I'm dealing with that, but everyone's on the mend, and it's a beautiful fall day here.
It is, yes. So let's start out and talk about your first and newest book, Worry Cloud, and the inspiration behind it.
So Worry Cloud is about a whimsical character that loves to collect children's worries, and there are no worries too big or too small for the Worry Cloud to handle. And the inspiration behind the Worry Cloud really came, it was a technique that I created for my children during COVID a few years back. And I've used it with my nieces, my nephews, and it's really something that allows children to let go of their worries and not hold on to them, and give them somewhere to go so they know it's okay to have them. Everyone does. This is what I do with them, and everything will be okay.
Well, for me personally, I'm about to graduate college next semester. And to be honest, I'm facing a lot of stress. And honestly, I really think I could use this advice. So could you tell our audience about the worry cloud technique and the ways it helps kids practice mindfulness as well as relieve anxiety?
Yes, definitely. And congratulations on graduating
Thank
soon.
you.
That's a big accomplishment. But we all have worries, no matter what age you're at. And I even use this technique for myself, but it actually came about, the thought of the technique was when you're meditating, you really are taught to not hold on to thoughts and not to judge your thoughts and to let them go like clouds or storms passing in the sky. So with the worry cloud technique, what you would ask children to do is to say their worry. A lot of times it helps at bedtime. Kids are a lot more able to share what's going on in their minds. And so you ask them, what's your worry? What's your fear right now? Is there anything on your mind? And then they'll tell you whatever it is. And let's say they're scared of the dark. And you'd ask them to take that worry from their mind and put it into the cloud. And they actually have to physically pretend to pull it out of their mind. And it's really interesting to see the ways that they pull it. Some worries will be heavier, the way that they take it out. Some they pull out like a string. And it's something where you get to see, wow, that really weighed on my child. And then when they put that worry in the cloud, you have them imagine that worry in the cloud. So the cloud is holding whatever it is that is on their mind, and they take a deep breath in, and then they blow out through their mouth, and then the cloud slowly moves away from their body. So they get that effect of seeing their thought and kind of leave their body. And then having them take that deep breath calms their system. And then from there, I always recommend some type of affirmation, whether it's you are safe, you are loved, you're cared for, and then you get that connection after. But all of those steps are really designed to help children throughout that worry phase, and to get through it and to know that they're not too much to handle, their thoughts or their fears.
So why specifically the cloud? I think it's a really great metaphor, but I wanted to know, like, why did you choose the cloud in particular? Like, why the image of the cloud?
So for me, the image of the cloud was really important. And I touched on this briefly, but when I think of my own meditation and when I'm thinking of when you're supposed to sit there in your thoughts, it's that they always say, let your thoughts pass like clouds or like a storm, and know that they're all going to come and go. And so I thought to have the children interact with a cloud, to also, it's not so close to their bodies. It's in the sky and it will go. And it's also really soft and really loving. And I really wanted to create a character for them that was soft and loving, and it resonated really well with my daughters and my nieces and nephews.
So I just saw you, for everyone listening, you just pulled up a little cloud plushie. Is that part of the book as well?
So this is when I do the technique, when I had done it previously, I didn't have anything. I just used my hand, and anyone can do that with their kid wherever they are. But I wanted to create an actual character, and this is a really soft, squishy plush toy and it has a cute storm bag. So this is where it holds your worries. And I thought it was really important for kids to have their own worry cloud that they could hold and cuddle and just have it be with them at night or wherever they are. It's really soft. And all these different techniques too help to introduce mindfulness to children at a young age. We were just actually featured on the Institute of Child Psychology as one of the best ways to introduce mindfulness to children because of the book and the plush toy.
Great. So your book also introduces very elementary teachings of breathwork. So what is breathwork, and how can it help to start teaching young kids as well as just anyone in general?
Breath work for me is one of the most important things and gifts that we can give ourselves and help to teach our children. It really allows everyone to take a pause. There's so much stimulation around us and around our children. And the breath work, there are a lot of different techniques that you can use with kids to make it fun. A really fun one is I hold my fingers up for how old they are. Let's say they're 3. I have them blow out the birthday candles, and they'll do it 3 times and the fingers will go down. Another one is I have a breathing ball that I use in my children's calm corners that I created, where they take a deep breath in and the ball expands, and then you take a deep breath out and the ball contracts. All of those things are really important. One, for introducing mindfulness, because it allows them to focus inward and to make that pause. And it also helps to reduce stress in their body and calm their bodies.
Yeah, I was actually introduced to breath work I believe my sophomore year of high school. I was really, really stressed about math in particular. I am not a math student. I go to Emerson College. It's our inside joke is that math doesn't exist at Emerson, and it's because the majority of us cannot do math. But anyway, I was in math, and I had a really, really great teacher. And she, basically taught me this thing about box breathing, about how to, do breath work and things like that. And box breathing is very like a very kind of elementary technique for breathing. But it really, really helped me, and I still use it today. Whenever I'm like really, really stressed out, or like I'm just so anxious that I can't seem to breathe properly. So,
Right.
I think it's really great that you're starting out teaching young kids, because I grew up with anxiety and I never knew any of that. I think that a lot of research for like child anxiety is, at least when I was a kid, which wasn't that long ago, but when I was a kid wasn't really that mainstream. And I think it's now become a lot more mainstream. So I think it's great that you're kind of talking about these and like shedding stigma away from child anxiety, because it's a very real thing. And yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that too. And when I was growing up, which was longer ago than when you were, there wasn't a lot. I remember my mom would help me at night because I always had trouble calming down before bed. And I remember I was probably 6 or so, I was younger, and she would do this technique, which I knew wasn't something that a lot of other parents were doing at this time, but she would have me relax, my body from my feet to my head. And that really helped me. And that was one of the first introductions that I had, because I did have a lot of anxiety and worry and energy that I didn't know what to do with. And for me, when I had left my job, and I was a stay-at-home mom, after my second daughter was born, and I was really on a search to try to find books that would help me to introduce it to them. And there are some really good ones, but there was something that I felt like there was a gap and I wanted to create for them. And I'm really glad that I did, because I hear them using it a lot now, and to hear the kids say, oh, this is what I do when I have this. And they're 3 and 5 and 7. And that's it really resonated with me. And it's also, these are their formative years. These are years, we're working hard to teach them letters and to write their name. And we have a lot of expectations on them for certain things, but we also should be teaching them these tools so they know and they can feel confident and feel like they know what to do when they're having these big feelings. And it's going to take time, but the repetition helps as well.
Yeah. Kind of another similar question is that you have the experience of being a parent of 3. I think parents are also facing anxiety at the same time their kids are facing anxiety. And like, I think because there hasn't a lot of like parents growing up didn't have the experience of like really learning about anxiety, or just kind of being told to just like deal with it as kids. They're also struggling. And so it can be hard to kind of teach kids how to deal with their anxiety. What advice can you give to parents who are also learning mindfulness and breathing exercises along with their kids?
First, I would say is that even that the fact that you're trying is really huge. Your kids will see, they learn from us and we teach them things, but they also learn by what we do. And parenting is so rewarding, but it's also really hard. And when your kids are going through their big emotions, one of the best pieces of advice that I can give is to just work hard to pause and calm yourself. If you're noticing that you're being a little bit triggered or something is happening to you when your kid is having a meltdown, you need to calm yourself first, and then you can be that calm for them. And when they're experiencing their big emotions, that's totally normal for their age, especially when they're, below 8, I would say. It's really hard for them to know what to do when they're having these big feelings. So for us, showing them the calm, it really helps parents and children to know what to do. And it's something that I work on every day, all day. And there's sometimes I don't do it well, but my goal is to always be the calm for them. And I think that would be some of my best advice. And it's not easy to do.
Yeah. So to kind of pivot a little bit, so the Worry Cloud is more than just a book. It also includes a QR code to a sing-along song with TV personality Aurora Culpo and her brother Gus Culpo. So how does music help dealing with heavy emotions like anxiety?
Oh, I'm glad that you mentioned this because I really wanted to encompass all different parts of introducing mindfulness into this book. And I heard Aurora and Gus, Aurora was singing and Gus played the piano, and I heard her voice and I immediately felt so calm. And when I was writing the book, I thought, this could actually be a song as well. And I want Aurora to sing it. And she was absolutely on board with it. And she's amazing. She's a wonderful mother. And it was really important for me to have the aspect of song within the Worry Cloud book as well, because introducing the song helps to calm children's bodies and their minds and almost as like a reset. And when I've been doing readings to the children, after I do a reading, I play the song and it's an animation as well. And you can see there'll be 20 kids, just their whole demeanor calms down and they really just sit there in that song. And it's a powerful thing. It's a powerful tool. And I'm really glad that we had that in the book as well.
Great. So, Christine, where can people purchase your book, Worry Cloud, and where can people find you for any upcoming projects?
So the Worry Cloud is available now at mindfulminispublishing.com. And you can buy it on the site, the book and the plush toy. And you can also follow us on Instagram, we're Mindful Minis Publishing, and TikTok and Facebook as well. We are currently working on our second book, and I cannot wait to share that with you guys soon. So definitely stay tuned for all of our updates. And we also do weekly affirmations that we have children read, and all different resources as well for parents.
All right, great. So, mindfulminispublishing.com, is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you so much, Christine. It was really great to talk to you. Thank you for teaching us all about mindfulness and all of the great ways we can deal with our anxiety. Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and this is wonderful, and thank you for sharing our Worry Cloud.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest, Anthony Kolink, will be returning to the Reading with Your Kids podcast to celebrate the latest book in his Harwood Mystery series. That's the next episode of the podcast. Hey, please be sure to visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com, and download our free Reading with Your Kids online magazine. So much great content there. written by our editor, Rory Grady, our intern, our host for today, Ann O'Leary, and also a number of guest contributors. We love the magazine. We're really proud of the content that we're creating. We're growing, and we would love for you to grow with us. Also want to ask you to visit our friends at clownswithoutborders.org. Find out what this group is doing around the world, helping to make a difference in kids' lives around the world, and also take a moment to consider joining them in their quest to bring a smile and to bring the spirit of play to kids everywhere, especially kids who are suffering from natural disasters, violence, and who have been displaced from their home. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, we want to start by thanking our guest, Christine Evans. Please be sure to check out Worry Cloud. I also want to thank our guest host today, Ann O'Leary. The rest of my team, they deserve a big thank you. Rory Grady, Fatima Khan, Soji Franklin. The person who deserves the biggest thank you, my beautiful wife. Thank you so much for all of your support and your love. And of course, you deserve a pretty big thank you too. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.
Yeah.